Good morning, students. From your Vistas test book, we are doing chapter number 7 Evans Tries an O level, written by Colin Dexter. In our previous class, we read that how the examination, 2 hour examination that was to start at 9:15 started at 9:25. And then we learned that there were phone calls coming, and then we learned that how Evans requested McClary that he wants to wear a blanket. Stephen notices this change, but then he does not report Jackson, believing that this part of the cell in D wing are parquet as cold as there is no sunlight or warmth. And we learn that Stephens received a call from the governor asking him that he is to escort McClary to the prison gate and has to check that he has locked the cell door of Evans when the exam is over. Now exam gets over at 11:25. Stephens escorts McClary to the cell gate, and then he was to go for a coffee, but then he had some suspicion, and rather than going for a belated cup of coffee, he thought, I'll just have a look at the Evans cell. And he goes and checks from the peephole, but then he was shocked as he saw that a grey regulation blanket was slipping and the person in Evans' chair was all in blood, and the blood was dripping from his head to the beard and white collar and clerical front. So let's continue from page number 82, paragraph Stephen shouted, line by line explanation. Stephens shouted wildly for Jackson, and the words appeared to penetrate the curtain of blood that veiled McClary's ears, for the minister's hand felt feebly for a handkerchief from his pocket and held it to his bleeding head, the blood seeping slowly through the white linen. Students, I want you to underline handkerchief from his pocket. So now Stephens notices that McClary is all in blood, and the clothes and collar and beard, everything is blood. So he's all shocked and he shouts for Jackson. And as he shouts, the shout is piercing the ears of McClary, who is in pain and who is all in blood. And then the minister, that is McClary, he very weakly, because he's hurt, and so he's very weak and he is in pain, he takes out a handkerchief from his pocket, and then he places that handkerchief on the head that was bleeding, and as he places so, that white linen soaked the blood. He gave a long low moan and tried to speak. Now he's in pain. He makes this groaning, a crash sound, and he's trying to speak, but his voice trailed away. But then he is badly hurt. He is not able to make up the strength to talk. So his voice altogether was low. It stopped. And by the time Jackson had arrived and dispatched Stephens to ring the police and the ambulance, the handkerchief was sticky, squelchy watch of cloth. And Jackson comes and he is all shocked, and he gives orders to Stephen that police and ambulance need to be called. And by that time, the handkerchief that was placed on the bleeding head became sticky, and that became altogether the blood was soaked by that white linen. Watch means peace. Squelchy means soft sucking. So that white handkerchief has soaked the blood. McClary slowly raised himself, his face twisted tightly with pain. Now McClary was all in pain, and one can read from his face, and he's making efforts to raise himself from the chair. Dina, worry about the ambulance, man. I'm all right. Get the police. I know. Where he? So now McClary is in very much pain. He is making efforts to speak, and he says that don't worry about ambulance. I'm all right, and just call the police. I know where. What he wants to speak. He closed his eyes, and another drip of blood splashed like a huge red raindrop on the wooden floor. And before he could speak and he could make efforts to speak, he is in pain. So he closes his eyes, and the whole lot of blood was dropping or flowing from the head, and it felt as if it was a red raindrop, and it fell on the floor. His hand felt along the table, found the German question paper, and grasped it tightly in his bloodstained hand. Get the governor, I know where Evans. So McClary makes efforts from his hand, he reaches out to the table, he collects that German question paper, he holds it tightly, and as he holds the question paper, even there are bloodstains on the question paper, and then he says, I want to talk to governor, I know where Evans. Almost immediately, sirens were sounding. Prison officers barked orders. Puzzled prisoners pushed their way along the corridors. Doors were banged and bolted, and phones were ringing everywhere. And suddenly, the whole Oxford prison was there were all sorts of noise coming. The noise of sirens were there, the prison officers shouting orders, and the prisoners were confused that what had gone wrong, and they were making their way through the corridors, and the doors were banged, that is shut loudly, and locked, bolted as locked, and the phones started ringing everywhere. So everyone was shocked that what had happened, and there were various kinds of sounds coming. And within a minute, McClary, with Jackson and Stephens supporting him on either side, his face now streaked means lined, marked, and caked means deposited, with drying blood, was greeted in the prison yard by the governor, perplexed, puzzled, confused, and grim, that is sad. Students underline streaked and caked with drying blood. So what happened? Jackson and Stephens are supporting McClary, and they bring McClary out to the prison yard, and McClary's face was all red. Red means blood is there, and that blood started to deposit. It has started drying, and when they support him and bring him to prison yard, the governor was there, and he's all confused and sad. Why confused? Confused that what had gone wrong. Sad with all the prison authorities in Oxford prison, and he himself on alert. Evans had fled, so he was puzzled that what went wrong and how. We must get you to hospital immediately. I just don't. Now governor says I have to immediately get you to hospital. I just don't. Now before the governor could finish, McClary speaks. You have called the police. So he questions whether you have called the police or not. Yes, they are on their way, but now governor says, yes, the police is on the way, but now before he could finish, again he was interrupted. I'm all right, look here. Awkwardly, he opened the German question paper and thrust it before the governor's face. It's there, do you see what I mean? Now before governor could speak and finish his things, he hands over governor with the question paper in front of him. He presents that question paper, the German question paper, and shows him that, see what I mean, just check on the paper what I want to say. The governor looked down and realized what McClary was trying to tell him. A photocopied sheet had been carefully and cleverly superimposed over the last originally blank page of the question paper. Now governor checks on that question paper, and he realizes that what McClary was trying to speak to him or tell him. There was a photocopy, and that was placed in the question paper, the blank paper, and it was carefully and cleverly placed. Ye see what they have done, governor, ye see. His voice trailed off again as the governor, dredging the layers of long neglected learning, willed himself to translate the German text before him. Now, what did McClary did? McClary gave governor the paper, that is the German paper, and he is saying that you have a look what they have done. And governor sees his voice trailed off, that is, he's all in pain and is not able to speak. And his voice was low, and governor is trying to dredging, is recollecting. He's recollecting the long neglected learning. Now he might have learned German many we have been learned that we have already read that he has learned German when he was in 6th grade. So he's trying to recollect that learning the German language, and willed himself, he was motivated himself to translate the German text before him. So question paper, he sees there is German text, and he thought that he himself would translate. Now this is what the German text is all about. You must follow the plan already something. The vital point in time is 3 minutes before the end of examination. But something. Don't hit him too hard. Remember, he's a minister. And don't overdo the Scots accent. When? So this German text was there, and there was cleverly it was superimposed, that is placed in the paper, in the blank paper at the back, and the message was there. What was the message? You must follow the plan. This was the first message, that the plan needs to be followed. Already something. What is this something? This is the text that German of the German language that governor couldn't make out. The vital point in time is 3 minutes before the end of examination. So the second message was, first was follow the plan. Second, that 3 minutes before the examination is a crucial time. It's an important time. But something, that is this German text he was not able to make out. And then he says the third message was, don't hit him too hard. Remember, he's a minister. So the third message was that the minister, the priest, don't hit him bad, because he's a minister, he's a priest, he can curse you. So better don't take a curse. So don't hit too hard. And the fourth message was, and don't overdo the Scots accent. When? So the message was that do not exaggerate when you are, when we as a reader understand that when you are coming off prison or talking, then do not speak or exaggerate too much in your Scottish accent. These are the 4 messages. First, follow the plan. Then 3 minutes before examination is crucial. Don't hit the minister too badly. And 4, do not speak with Scottish accent too much. A fast approaching siren wailed to its crescendo. The great doors of the prison yard were pushed back, and a white police car squealed to a jerky halt beside them. Now everyone who was standing in the prison yard, suddenly a siren was heard, and this was a fast moving vehicle coming, and it was wailing. That is a loud sound of sirens were coming, and it was loud to its extent, to the loudest. Crescendo means to the highest. And the prison gates and the prison yard doors were open for this vehicle to come in, and the white police car, so it was a police car, a white police car squealed, that is squealed to a jerky halt beside them. So it comes with a and stops with a jerk and squeal. Squeal means shrill sound. Detective Superintendent Carter swung himself out of the passenger seat and saluted the governor. What the hell's happening, sir? And turning to McClary, cries, who's hit him? So from this car, who comes down? Who it is? McClary. Sorry. Detective Superintendent Carter comes from this car, and he salutes the governor, and then he is amazed to see McClary all in blood, and he questions who hit this person. But McClary cut across whatever explanation the governor might have given. So before the governor could explain Carter what had happened over here, McClary stops governor to speak, and he speaks, what? Elsfield Way officer, I know where Evans. So he speaks that I know where Evans has fled, and he has fled to Elsfield Way.